seen petrol stations across Melbourne with cars queuing up to get in. I mean, even I went and filled a car up yesterday. It didn't really need it. It was three-quarter full. But with suggestions that petrol is already above $2 a litre for the lowest grade of petrol, and it could go to $3. I mean, look at this graph in the Australian today of all the oil from the Arab nations. The white is everything that travels through the Hormuz Strait. The much smaller part in yellow is via another route. It goes to show you why our 36 days of petrol supplies and diesel is such a worry. And Chris Bowen doesn't even seem to really understand why we should be worried about it. Join us to discuss this, MST marquee energy analyst Saul Kavonic. Good to see you again, Saul. I mean, it's not just the Hormuz Strait, but Iran has also been attacking LNG infrastructure in the Gulf states. I mean, how bad could this get, and how potentially quickly could we be in real trouble in this country, without panicking people, with petrol supplies running low?
So what we're seeing Iran doing here is where we basically got Iran in a existential threat situation, lashing out at everything, threatening passage through the Strait of Hormuz, and directly targeting key oil and LNG infrastructure in the Gulf, is basically entering the apocalypse scenario for energy security, which has been war gamed by nations going back 50 years. A lot of this started in the 1970s when you had the Arab oil embargo and the Iranian Revolution that sent oil prices skyrocketing. The impact from closing the Strait of Hormuz today is actually 3 times the size of those shocks that we had in the 1970s. And not only has the passage to the Strait of Hormuz completely dried up, but because of that, they're now having to shut down production because tanks are filling up, there's no way to get it out. And then because of the threat of direct attacks, you've seen Qatar, which accounts for 20% of the world's LNG, has shut its production in as well. So right now, the market has obviously seen big increases in prices, about 15% increases in oil, about 150 to 200% increase in LNG. But that's still a relatively modest increase in prices, because the market's still assuming that we're going to see a de-escalation or return of flows over the next few weeks. My concern is that the market is severely underestimating the risk here, because if the status quo is maintained, we're looking at the biggest energy price shock in generations, and that will be felt here at home in Australia. Now, Australia stands to benefit as a big exporter of LNG, so our foreign revenue and our tax revenue will get a boost. But we will have because we're completely connected into international markets, particularly on crude oil, so when we go to the pump, etc., that's going to put up pressure on our cost of living, on all goods, well beyond the cost of filling up petrol at the pump.
I noticed, just finally, you're in Tokyo. I mean, how are the Japanese handling this situation? I mean, they are massive importers of fuel. I presume they do, though, refine some of their own, unlike us.
Well, Japan's a complete importer of all of its energy, and therefore energy security is a national security issue for Japan. Thankfully, Japan has managed to procure itself from a very wide, diverse range of sources, a lot of it from Australia for its energy needs. So it's not as badly placed, for example, as Europe is right now. Right now, Germany is at almost record low stock levels on gas. It's almost unfathomable how Europe once again has managed to be at dangerously low stock levels right as a geopolitical event is disrupting gas supply. I'd call it a wake-up call, but the truth is Europe has slept through every wake-up call, is now just bearing the consequences of choosing to remain asleep. Now, Australia is going to be seen as an increasingly important trade partner, particularly for Japan and also other major trade partners in Asia for supply security now. So this is really good for Australia. It's in the sense that Australia's going to be seen as more important, a more favourable destination for investment. And my concern on the political level in Australia is the government about to do something, for example, on gas policy or taxation, which snatches defeat from the jaws of victory once again and deters another wave of investment of Asia into Australia's resources, because that's what they did last time this happened in 2022.
Well, let's hope that's not the case. Good on you. Thanks for joining us from Japan. I appreciate it, Saul.